Off again. Okay, Ellie, you can ask your question. This better be good.
No, it's not a question. It's just a bit of noticing what you were saying, and it just so connected to me. Because I was reading the Our Desert Fathers wisdom, and what they suggest, they say, well, we need to treat those people who annoys us as God's given, Jesus given the healers to us.
Brilliant.
Because He sends those people, and we need to be grateful, and we need to pray for them, and to give glory. Because otherwise we would reject Jesus' medicine. He's giving that medicine to us. And it really, really connected to me. It's like a month ago. And I thought, wow. And it just turned everything, because I was getting really annoyed with the certain teachers with people at work where like annoying me. And I'm thinking, well, that's what I am. That's what I'm giving to everyone else's. So really, we need to be grateful for those people.
This is excellent. You see, I get annoyed, easily irritated all the time. And what I see at the end of the day is I sort of come back and I think, okay, just about everybody has annoyed me today. And I think to myself, okay, Lord, what are you teaching me there? What do I need to know about myself in this so that the wound, the medicine can take its effect and I can be healed of this deep wound, whatever it might be. So thank you, Ellie. That's somebody on my side. Anyone else? Are we okay? Am I still good to keep going? I was looking for the third dwelling place. Okay.
Sorry, Derek, just before you go on with the dwelling place.
It's too late, Fiona. Go on.
Just say again what you said about recognizing the positive virtues in other people in terms of, I didn't quite understand what you were saying about that. I understand what you're saying about the negative.
I didn't think I said anything about the positives. Mainly because I'm focusing on the negatives, because the negatives reveal to us our shadow side. And it's the shadow side which we need to be reconciled to, because we need to recognize that we have this potential for great evil. And that's the thing that we need to reconcile to. Most of us already believe we're capable of great good. So that side of things is isn't a big problem for everybody. But the depths of evil to which we can sink, that is often a big problem.
Yeah, I sometimes think that maybe we don't actually think that we can rise to such great heights.
That is actually a very good statement to make. And that is, okay, are you ready for this, Fiona? Because this is, I've had this from other people, so it's a really good statement to make, and it is rooted in the ego self. So although we're saying that the rising to the great heights is because of a lack of self-esteem, it's actually the opposite. It's actually rooted in the ego, because you are not being called to rise to great heights. God is going to raise you to the heights. And what we need to learn to do first is humble ourselves under God's mighty hand. And as St. Peter says, this is his literal line: humble yourselves under God's mighty hand, and he will raise you up. So we should actually be going down, in a sense, into the shadows. And Teresa of Lisieux was good on this. She was like, all I need to do is just get on that elevator, take that one small step, and God will do everything else.
So that's why I think it's interesting about the recognizing the positive aspects of another person.
Brilliant.
Because if you do actually recognize that you have no greatness yourself,
Good.
we haven't.
Yes.
So any greatness is God's. Then, in a sense, it's what you said about if someone is truly holy,
Mm-hmm.
they are hidden.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a sense, this is a question.
Mm-hmm.
If a soul gets to a point of true holiness, they don't actually recognize the greatness in another soul because it's all God's work. It's not visible. Do you see what I'm saying?
To a degree, Fiona, but once again, there's a beautiful little contradiction in here. When a person is truly living in the holiness of God's presence, and they've had that genuine conversion experience, they seek to find no bad in other souls. They will only see goodness because they will only see God in everything, absolutely everything. Now, go to the other extreme. To understand this, go to the other extreme. Go to, for example, with me. Okay, so with me, I will happily try to find fault with everybody. I won't necessarily do it as a ongoing habitual way, but I'm kind of thinking, oh, where's the weakness in this person? Where's the weakness in that person? And that's only because I haven't been reconciled to my own weaknesses yet. But one day, please God, I'll be in that place of mystical marriage on earth. When I get there, I will no longer be condemning anybody or looking for the weakness in other souls. My primary motive will be loving everybody. And when you're loving somebody like that, you really aren't interested in vice. You want to lead people out of vice, but you're really not interested in pointing the finger. Hope that makes sense. And I've got two others coming up. So Ellie, first, Gerard asked me a question again, and Gerard's doing good tonight. So when we hit the heights of holiness, nothing will frustrate us, and other people's sin will not really bother us. Bang! Yes, that's exactly right. We will no longer be frustrated, and we will. Sister Leslie Lunn covers this. She writes it so eloquently, though, because this is what she says. This is in Mansion 3. So this is where she's looking at it from the other angle. She's talking about people with well-ordered lives. Because of their well-ordered lives, people in these dwellings tend to think they can teach others about virtue in the spiritual life. They try to set others straight, and they are easily shocked by other people's faults. In fear and self-righteousness, they can be standoffish from sinners or anything that might contaminate them. They're like Pharisees and publicans. They're prone to judge and compare themselves to others. Now, when she gets further on, she says that the soul in this dwelling place is not shocked by the sins of others. Why? Because they recognize that they themselves are perfectly capable of such thing. So their prime motive isn't pointing out other people's sin, it's loving other people. That's their prime motive. Am I doing all right here? Ellie?
Yeah, it's a bit of a comment and a question as well.
Sure?
Because with me, it's really connected here because the big breakthrough, especially like in contemplative prayer, came, and I suppose living in divine will as well. It's when I realized that I'm just trying too much. And even
Good.
if I don't think that I'm trying, but it is. It's like, but with the divine will, I never really questioned myself, do I live there or do I not live there? But I guess my 3 things that I always wanted every day, and I ask that every day, to live in the divine will, to love God, and to be to love more than everyone, and to be smallest more than everyone.
Yeah.
I thought, well, if Sister Faustina, if Saint Faustina and Saint Teresa of Lisieux asked that, I can do as well.
Yep.
So that's how it was, and I really noticing now, like I don't, maybe because it's that not trying that, but I really feel him, or even if I don't feel, I know he's looking at me.
Good. Yes.
Jesus, so he's all there.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
the same is with contemplative prayer, because to start with, I really struggled, like I couldn't concentrate and nothing. And I thought, you know what? And Saint Teresa of Lisieux came to help, because I thought, well, I only will do what I can understand. So I started in a contemplative prayer that go with a thank you, like just thank Lord for everything what happened that day, or because I do it in the morning, so previous day or just generally in my life, and then it goes into whinging. So it's like, what I want. But that's what, you know, and I realized how much I never said to the Lord. It's like even those little askings what I want him to do and what I want him to feel, and I thought, well, wow, that's what Jesus said to Saint Faustina, tell me everything, he said. And that allowed me to say, but after the whinging bit, it became into intercessional prayer, like I would pray for people, and then it goes very lovely into contemplative prayer.
Silence.
I'm like this, like, oh, I can relax now, and then it just goes nice into peace and quiet.
That's it.
But I guess that's what it is, like, we need to stop trying and just do what we can. But where is the line? You know, is it just we still need to do something?
No, we don't. Let me just draw the line for you, Ellie. Okay, let me just draw the line here. This is Sister Leslie helping us to get from the 3rd mansion to the 4th, 5th, and 6th and 7th mansions. Okay, and it's beautifully simple. Okay. Those who think they have their spiritual life under control will feel greater distaste and restlessness when prayer seems empty and dry. Until they abandon themselves to God, everything will be hard and burdensome. So the simplicity of the matter is a deeper abandonment. That's what we're being called to. So earlier, Fiona sort of posed the question: How do I attain to these heights? We don't. We abandon ourselves, and God raises us to the heights. And this is one of the problems we have with a lot of biographies of saints, for example. When we're reading these biographies, they always make this reference: they attained to this height. They didn't. Every one of them, the only reason that we have canonized saints is because there are souls in the church who abandon themselves to God at the deepest level of their soul. And that enabled God to raise them to the heights. And that's the one thing we don't read in many of these books. We don't read, God raised this person. Or we do read it. We do read it. For example, it'll come out on a canonization process. God raised them to the heights. That's the correct terminology. That comes from the Vatican. Okay? And the other thing she writes here, which is directly underneath, which comes back to the early point about the human will. Following our own will is usually what brings harm to us. Okay? God has revealed to you his will. So here's how he's done it tonight. For example, he's revealed to you tonight that whenever you see faults in other people, you're actually seeing something that's going on in your own soul. That's the first thing. The second thing that he's revealed to you is that your own will is going to cause you the biggest problems. And therefore, Christ has given you a solution. He's saying to you, if each day you fix your will in my will, you will have minimal problems. Okay, minimal problems. Because he can deal with all your problems. Your problems are not a problem for him. That's all. Okay? And then, how do I climb this mountain? Simple. You don't. You completely abandon yourself to me at the deepest level of your being. And how do I know I'm completely abandoned to you, Lord Jesus? Simple. You'll be at the top of the mountain. Until you get to the top of the mountain, you are not yet completely abandoned. So you need to completely abandon yourself to him each day, deeper and deeper in your being, through the trials, through the penances, through the purgation, abandoning yourself all the time and saying, okay, Jesus, I'm abandoning this situation to your will. I'm abandoning myself to your will. I'm trusting in you. That's the key. And we did a big session on trust on Sunday night. So if you didn't get the Sunday teaching, I have literally uploaded it to YouTube in the last half an hour or so. So it's on there, and it's mainly about trust. It says heaven's call, but it's mainly about trust and how God is going to get us to heaven. And it's rooted in total abandonment at the depths of the soul and complete trust. Now notice the terminology: total abandonment, complete trust. And these are not difficult. These are simple things to attain to. And you might say, oh Lord, I'm really not abandoned to you. Well, don't say that. What are you going to say instead? Jesus, I abandon myself to you. And you're going to keep on repeating it. I'm abandoning myself to you. I'm abandoning myself to you. I abandon myself to your will. You have to keep repeating it because you are an athlete in formation. And to become the best athlete, you have to keep repeating the exercise. Repetition of the exercise is what makes you an elite athlete. And they will repeat the same exercises for 15 to 20 years. I'm still repeating exercises I was doing when I was 17. Same exercises for 40 years. I've been repeating physically. And spiritually, I've been repeating the same exercises day after day for decades. It's that repetition that produces true sanctity in the soul. Repetition through sheer boredom. Okay, just going to reset my recorder here.